What's up, everyone? It all comes down to this. It all comes down to this. How long have we been waiting for this Ryder Cup? Ever since it was on the schedule, New York, Bethpage Black, Keegan Bradley's made the captain. It was over a year ago he was made the captain. We were so shocked then. 37 years old, still top 25 player in the world. This is a totally new dynamic for Team USA. And then Keegan has one of the best years of his career. Does he pick himself? It's been weighing on him all year. I've got who I always point the wrong way on these streams. This is the situation, in my estimation, that we have right now. We've got the 6 auto qualifiers. I think JT's a lock. I think Colin's a lock. I think Ben Griffin should be a lock, but I don't know. I'm afraid Patrick Cantlay is a lock. Keegan is in his own category, and then we've got the bubble right here. So Keegan is sitting down at the desk. I think they're in Frisco. I want to hear your guys' picks. Let's hear your guys' picks right now. Before the first pick is made, I want to hear your guys' picks. Who are the 6 that he is going to take? And I'm going to remind you, I am watching on mute to avoid getting kicked off of YouTube. So I'm going to, hopefully, if they're smart, they're going to have these little, they're going to put the names up there and not just say it. I'm sure they will. I want to hear who everyone thinks is going to get picked. My picks would be JT, Colin, Ben Griffin, Keegan, Cam Young, and Sam Burns. I would not pick Patrick Cantlay, but I am not foolish. I think that Patrick Cantlay is going to get picked, especially after his performance at the Ryder Cup. At the Tour Championship, I should say. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. This is a massive, massive day. This is a massive stream. It's a massive day. What does Keegan do? The most tan man in world golf, Julius Mason to his right, just looking fresh off the beach in Boca. A fantastic tan. That man is just always looking ready for Havana Nights. I've been wondering how Keegan felt after he hit it in the water on 15. I feel like everything probably started to hit him then. He was able to have this sanctuary of being inside the ropes the entire, that was everything. All the noise of the Ryder Cup went quiet when he got inside the ropes, especially as he continued to move on in the FedEx Cup playoffs and had a legitimate chance to win the FedEx Cup. But once he hit in the water on 15 on the sort of island green, it probably all hit him that, okay, I'm going to have to make these calls now. I'm going to have to make this final decision. And he's in a position that no Ryder Cup captain really has ever been in the last 60 years. Trying to sift out, do I do this? Do I step into the arena? I think he should. I think the role of the Ryder Cup captain's been a little bit overblown in recent years. He can't hit a shot. I don't know if you guys realize that. The captain cannot hit a shot. Ben's making his picks. He says JT, Collins, Burns, Young, Griffin, Keegan. That is mine as well. Cantlay, Griffin, JT, Collin, Cam Young, and Burns. We're all on the same page here. Except for Eric Stricker thinks that Cantlay. I don't know if you're saying you would pick Cantlay, Eric, or you think Cantlay's going to get picked. I agree that I think Cantlay's going to get picked. He would not be on my team. It's really just one tournament. So I've got a bunch of the guys. As he makes his picks, we're going to pull up their stats. We're going to pull up their results. Keegan is still reading through a prepared statement. Kind of amazing that they have stretched this out into a 1-hour ordeal. It sort of reminds me of LeBron James as the decision. It's like, can you just say it? Can we just get the picks? But the Ryder Cup is a show. I'm not going to say it's an exhibition. That's what Rory McIlroy said at the beginning of his career. It's more than an exhibition, but it is an entertainment product. So they're gonna draw this out as long as they possibly can. Keegan says Ben Boscovich. Jordan Atienza says same. Cantlay will be picked, says Eric Stricker. I do agree. I think Cantlay probably will be picked. I hope it's not one of those situations where they drag it out. You know what? Why don't we start bringing up some of these guys' stats profiles? I really think the bubble kind of comes down to Cantlay, Burns, and Young. I don't think Maverick McNeely has a real chance, unfortunately. I don't think Brian Harman has a real chance, unfortunately. I don't think Chris Scott, unless Keegan doesn't pick himself. That obviously opens up one more spot. But yeah, Europe picks aren't coming for, I think, at least another week. But I think the European picks are going to be really, really straightforward. I think it's going to be Rahm, Lowry, Fitzpatrick, Oberg, Hovland, and Straka. Even though Rick Gaiman on our show, I think, kind of forgot that John Rahm existed because he said there were going to be 2 Højgaard twins. I don't think they're going to be 2 Højgaard twins. I'm not sure how long this water bottle's been on the desk, but it's just water. It can't hurt me. Famous last words, huh? Famous last words. It's a work day. Let's get this moving. I completely agree. They're dragging this out. They're gonna drag it out. They are gonna drag it out. Keegan is sitting there nodding. I'm watching on mute, so it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be difficult for me to follow along exactly what's going on in this press conference. But they're doing this for an hour. So there's Justin Thomas. There's Justin Thomas. Okay. I don't think they would have Justin Thomas on if he wasn't a pick. He was in our locks. Let's pull up Justin Thomas's stat profile. Number 11 in data golf, number 5 in the world rankings, really based on, we're going to bring up his results for the year. Remember how strong Justin Thomas was to begin the year. Second place in the American Express, top 10s in Phoenix, top 10s in the Genesis Invitational, solo second in the Valspar, got that win, that long-awaited win, first one since the 2022 PGA at the Valspar, at the RBC Heritage, followed it up with almost won the Truist again. It was a disappointing second half of the year, particularly in the majors, tied for 36 at the Masters, miscut at the PGA, miscut at the US Open, T34 at the Open Championship. So there are a few guys on the American team that have not had very good major championship seasons. Justin Thomas being one of them, Colin Morikawa being another, Patrick Cantlay being perhaps the worst. I mean, Patrick Cantlay was, I think, T36 in the Masters and missed the cut in the next 3. I don't think that anyone is surprised about Justin Thomas. Ricky Aguirre says that Akshay should be on the team. Based on what? Based on vibes? Because Akshay finished the year strongly, but I don't think he was consistent enough throughout the entire year. But look, JT, there's no surprise there. He was the first lock. I believe he was number 7 in the points, so he was never not going to make this team. Obviously an emotional leader too, right? I mean, this guy got picked a couple years ago when he was playing like doo-doo. He is not playing. He didn't even make the playoffs when he got picked in 2023. He made the Tour Championship. He finished 7th in the Tour Championship. I think I saw his record 7-3-2 in the Ryder Cup. Was one of the few bright spots. I remember back in Paris. Remember he took down Rory McIlroy in singles. He's an emotional leader on this team. I don't think that anyone is surprised that Justin Thomas makes the team. Now, you guys said, Ben said at least, that he's nervous about Ben Griffin. I'm a little bit nervous with Ben Griffin too. I am a little bit nervous with Ben Griffin. I think if there's one guy who can be snubbed, it is Ben Griffin. This is the first year that he's been, anywhere near this level of prominence in the game. Now, if it was based on play in 2025, I think I have I favorited a tweet from someone that said, of the guys who haven't been picked or who haven't made it automatically, Ben Griffin has the best strokes gained overall, the most FedEx Cup points, the most wins. He's got 2. Remember, one on his own ball and one with Andrew Novak in the Zurich. Most top 10s, most top 25s. There's Colin Morikawa. So we are 2 for 2 with the locks. Now, some of you said that Colin Morikawa shouldn't be a lock, and that was based mostly, I think, on his play recently, and I think also just sort of the narrative around Colin this year, I think, was very negative. It started off very solidly. He finished second to Hideki Matsuyama in the first tournament of the year. Now, remember, Hideki shot 35 under. Colin was like, holy fuck, 35 under. And then he finished second. Really should have won Bay Hill playing against Russell Henley, but he lost that duel. And then, there's a lot of top 20 finishes. That's 6 to start the year. And then sort of hit a wall. Split with his caddy, JJ Jakovac, who had been his caddy literally since the day he turned pro. Their first time working together was in Colin's 2019 sectional or final qualifying, I should say, for the United States Open. And got through that and just got off to the races with his career, winning 2 majors in his first 8 tries. Should have got to number 1 in the world. Kind of amazing that he didn't get to number 1 in the world. Remember, he had a chance to get to number 1 in the world at the Hero when he blew it. I think he had like a 5-shot lead. 3-time member of Team USA. His Ryder Cup record is 4-3-1. Kind of a dirty statistic. Has not won since 2023 Bay Current Classic. Remember, it was the Zozo. He won in Japan. Question is, who's going to be on the bag? He's had Mark Urbanek on the bag, who was Tony Finau's ex-caddy for a long time. Mark was on the bag for, I think, the last 2 FedEx Cup playoff events, if not all 3. So it would seem that Urbanek is most likely to be on the bag. I want you guys to sort of give me some of the I want you guys to give me some of like details on what they're saying. Are they asking what he's saying? Are they asking who's going to be on the bag for him? I like that Colin showed up with a nice, a nice black button down. Very, very classy, having some respect for the occasion. JJG says, I'll be rooting for America, but putting my money on the Euros. The Euros are going to, it seems like, come back with basically the same team, except for switching out one Højgaard twin for another. Statistically, Mark Kelly says he is the best pick. Morikawa seemed lost all season with caddy trouble, says Mark Kelly, and short game problems too, I believe, but he kind of got it back. What I also want to emphasize is the Ryder Cup's not tomorrow. I think it starts 1 month from today, or 30 days from today. So, toward the end of the season, these guys are tired. They don't have time to work on their game. They don't have time to sort of take a step back and reassess. And there's a month till the Ryder Cup. And I think that's why you have to take a big picture. You can't just go with the hot hand. Ben Griffin, there he is. There he is. He deserved it. He absolutely deserved it. That makes me feel really, really good. That makes me feel really good that Ben Griffin, because there's still room for meritocracy. Let's look at Ben Griffin's statistics, okay? Ben Griffin started the year definitely outside the top 100 in the world rankings. I don't know exactly where he was. He started the year, and these are not even all of his starts. I'm going to move this over a little bit. Oh, no, I'm not. Those are not even all of his starts because he had to play every tournament that he could get into because he wasn't in anything really to start the year. T69 to start in the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. And remember, these are signature events. So almost dead last. Phoenix Open T36, Genesis T44. If I told you after the Genesis Invitational that this guy would be on the Ryder Cup, you would have laughed in my face. But then he started getting to work. T4 at the Mexico Open, T4 at the Cognizant. It really started, though, with that PGA Championship. Tied for 8th. Look how solid he's been. Tied for 8th in the PGA Championship. He won on his own ball at Colonial. Then that solo second to Scotty Scheffler at Memorial, where he really gave Scotty all he could handle. Followed it up with a top 10 in the U.S. Open, T14 at the Travelers, T13 at the Rocket. Went through a little bit of a swoon. I think we were a little concerned there after he missed the cut at the John Deere and missed the cut at the Open. Was it just going to be a summer hot streak? But finished really, really strong in the heat of the American summer. Tied for 11th at the Wyndham Championship. Tied for 9th at the FedEx St. Jude. Tied for 12th at the BMW Championship. Tied for 10th. I'm a little disappointed he's not wearing the aviators, not wearing the shades. I wanted him to wear the shades. I wanted him to wear the shades throughout the entire Ryder Cup process. He still can once he gets to Bethpage, but I don't want the shades to come off. It's like that Australian kid, I'll play and I'll respect the tournament, but I'm not taking my glasses off. He quote unquote overdosed on creatine. Then I saw a social video yesterday where it was like in collaboration with a creatine company. So very good job monetizing that. Said creatine actually doesn't do what he said happened. Didn't the jitters. That's like not really a creatine thing. He thinks he was just dehydrated. So I don't know if it was a overdose on creatine so much as it was just a little bit of dehydration. But we saw how many birdies this guy can make. I think he started that tournament with a triple bogey, a double bogey, and then a bogey that Sunday, I should say. He was 6 over par through 3 holes and ended up shooting 1 under. Has a ton of game, a ton of firepower. That is a win for meritocracy. Griffin is on the team. Deserved it. Cameron Young, I might go 6 for 6. Could Dan go 6 for 6? Could Dan go 6 for 6? It is entirely possible. Cameron Young on the Ryder Cup team, and this is thanks to just an incredible summer. He was nowhere near the radar going into the RBC Canadian Open. Went 1-2-1 at the President's Cup in his only appearance for Team USA, but he finished 11th or better in his last 4 starts. That started with a win in the Wyndham Championship where he was up by 8 the entire time. Someone said, surprise, Keegan won't be picking himself. You don't know that. He's already got a new creatine sponsorship. That's exactly right. Overdose on creatine was what won me over as a Ben Griffin fan. I think watching him play with moxie and watching Ben Griffin play with an added confidence throughout the year was awesome. But Cameron Young wins the Wyndham by a gazillion. And then he said on our show, and I asked him after, I think I can help this team. And we've got a New Yorker. We have a New Yorker. The kid from the Bronx has made it to the Ryder Cup in New York. A dream come true. Just a kid from the Bronx. Obviously, I'm joking. He went to Fordham Prep, which is technically in the Bronx, but it's all those like crazy expensive private schools that are in the Bronx. He grew up at Sleepy Hollow Country Club, which is in Westchester County, not too far of a drive away from Bethpage Black. Cameron is a very even-keeled customer. He does not show a lot of emotion out there, but we've seen the Ryder Cup turn even Harris English into like prime Tiger Woods with emotion. So I think we'll see a new side of Cameron Young. This is the most I've seen Cameron Young smile ever. He's had a smile on his face throughout this entire call. So Cameron Young makes a team, and it wasn't just the finish at the Wyndham. It was the 5th place in the FedEx Cup St. Jude, 11th in the BMW Championship, and then a really strong Tour Championship. And if we look at his statistical profile, he drives it really far and he putts it beautifully. And that is a great combination, obviously anywhere, but especially in match play, you know, especially on a course like Bethpage Black that I think everyone is expecting to play long and difficult. And I think it plays right in to Cameron Young's hands. He will be the hometown kid. Awesome. Deserved. Need the hometown guy, and he's finishing strong, says Mark Kelly. Cam Young looking like a mob boss right now. He's got fantastic hair. I wonder if he lets it grow. You know, shows Tommy Fleetwood. You're not the only Jesus lookalike who can get on this team, who can play in the Ryder Cup. So Cameron Young, we already have 4 picks. We have Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Ben Griffin, and Cameron Young. Just a kid from the Bronx. Just a kid from the Bronx. If we get Burns and Keegan, then Dan will be 6 for 6 with his picks. I'll feel great about the team that we are taking to Bethpage Black. We're all really waiting for him to pick himself, though. Now, Tiger Woods was a playing captain in the President's Cup, and I saw the clip. Scratch posted a clip earlier. Leak Sam Burns. He just said Sam Burns' name as a teammate. No, he leaked Sam? He leaked Sam Burns? I saw Nuclear Golf leaked Sam Burns a couple days ago. It sounds like Cameron Young. Listen, Cameron. Keegan should have told you. Stop. Don't be saying that. Don't be ruining my surprise here. It sounds like we got Burns. Gosh, this is good content alongside the news conference. Thought you'd be there, but I love the graphics, man. The graphics, shout out to me. I did these myself. It's amazing, by the way. It's absolutely amazing what you can do with this program, OBS. So is Cantlay not getting picked, or does Keegan not pick himself and he picks Cantlay? There's Cantlay. Oh, man. I don't think Keegan's going to pick himself. I'm starting to think he's not going to pick himself. I'm starting to think he is not going to pick himself. It's either going to be, yeah, Keegan, if Burns is on the team and Cantlay's on the team, that means Keegan's not picking himself. Oh, my goodness. After I went through all of that, I made that video basically telling Keegan Bradley that he could be next in a line that includes Thomas Jefferson and Abraham Lincoln as an American hero. He goes with Patrick Cantlay. I am shook, says Ben Boscovich. He said he was a teammate at the Junior Ryder Cup. You guys are giving me mixed signals. So either someone's wrong here, by the way. We've got a source off, because James Corrigan said that Keegan's going to pick himself, and Nuclear Golf said that Burns is on the team. There's only one spot left. So James Corrigan or Nuclear Golf, they're both sweating right now. So Patrick Cantlay makes the team, really with a couple of strong performances. I think the Tour Championship, look, he's been very good at match play, but I just don't feel like he's deserved it. This year. There have been a lot of strong finishes. Tie for 5th at the Genesis, tie for 4th at the Truist, tie for 9th at the FedEx St. Jude, tie for 2nd at the Tour Championship. Yeah, you guys don't seem to be very excited about this in the chat, but look, what I want to remind everybody is we all were annoyed watching Patrick Cantlay pitter-patter, but I'm telling you, in a month, it's our guy. It's like, you know what? It's the Draymond Green conundrum. If he's on your team, you love him. If he's off your team, you love him a little bit less. Cantlay makes it. We can look at his statistical profile. Very good on approach. Very good putting. The driving accuracy has struggled this year around the green. Not so good this year. But his stats are a little bit misleading, because he's been so good in the signature events and the PGA Tour events, but it did absolutely nothing in the majors this year, right? Nothing in the majors this year. Tie for 36 at the Masters, missed the cut at the PGA Championship, missed the cut at the US Open, missed the cut at the Open Championship. It sounds like, I'm telling you, we've got an old-fashioned source off here. I love a source off. You know, I want to give you guys a little bit of an insight here. You know, I had someone reach out to me and say, I know the picks, and I think I know the picks. Do you want to know the picks? And I said no, because I wanted to react with you guys in real time. I think the scoop game is pretty lame. Like, it's going to come out in a day or two. Okay, here's the final one. Does Keegan pick himself? Does Keegan Bradley pick himself, or do I see Sam Burns pop on my screen? Sam Burns, no Keegan. Unbelievable. Keegan Bradley. I thought he was going to become the next Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln. I wanted him to pick himself so badly. Keegan Bradley will not be a playing captain, despite how much energy I felt like that could bring to the team, despite the storyline of him just missing out at the last Ryder Cup, gets this captaincy all year. Will he, won't he? Plays so well throughout the playoffs, wins the Travelers, plays well in the majors, and opts not to pick himself. Now, I think this is the safer option. I think Keegan can now say, look, these are the 12 guys who I think will be best for us in Bethpage. I want to focus on being the captain. You know, if he picks himself and they lose, it's very easy for everyone to second guess. If he picks himself, if he doesn't pick himself and they lose, I don't think he gets as much flack. He says, I wanted to focus on being the captain. I felt really good about my guys. Now, I always thought that Burns would be on this team because of his putting. Look at his putting. That is as far to the left as you see one of these breakdowns. He's perhaps the best putter on the U.S. team, and obviously a natural pairing with Scotty Scheffler. But man, I was almost 6 for 6. I thought it was going to be Keegan over Cantlay with this team, but Keegan Bradley will not be a playing captain. What a storyline that was. I'm disappointed on a personal level. I thought it was going to give the USA just this incredible rallying cry. I thought after Rory McIlroy said, you can't do it, I thought he was going to use that as ultimate bulletin board material. But man, I'm honestly a little bit shook right now. If Cantlay starts his waggle, maybe he'll be ready by September to tee off, says S.J. McKinney. Sam, cannot believe it, says Ben Boscovich. This was an hour stream, so Keegan has 30 to explain himself. Patrick being the winning factor in the end would be comical, says Ricky Aguirre. There are the 6 picks. Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Ben Griffin, Cameron Young, Patrick Cantlay, and Sam Burns. How are you guys feeling about the team? How are you guys feeling about the team? Horrible, horrible, horrible choices. Ivan R., we needed a U.S. playing captain. Justin Holland says, is there a reason why it isn't North America versus Europe? That's an interesting question. Who would be on? Would you picking Corey Connors over these guys? You picking Nick Taylor over these guys? You picking Abraham Answer over these guys? I don't think it would make a difference, to be honest. Cup extended to 5 days for Cantlay. Europe will be licking their lips at that team. I'm really surprised that Keegan had this opportunity and he didn't take it. I'm really surprised. I don't think anyone would have second guessed him. I mean, people would have second guessed him, but I think within the team, I think everyone would have been fired up. I cannot hear what Keegan is saying right now. Hopefully you guys can give me some details on what Keegan's saying. All right, so we have the team, and I'm gonna look up some potential pairings. How I think these guys might line up, at least to start out with. So we've got Cameron Young, Sam Burns, Colin Morikawa. So who plays with Bryson? I've got an idea. Let's go with them with the proper Bash Bros. Sorry, I'm just working on a list right here that I think could be. I'm pairing everybody up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Here's who I think we could see as far as pairings. I'm going to bring this in for you guys. Man, I'm really shook right now, to be honest with you guys. I'm really shook. I thought it was going to be just an epic move by Keegan. I thought we were going to all get to rally behind the playing captain, but it's not happening. I'm very surprised. I'm very, very surprised. And you know who has some explaining to do is James Corrigan. James Corrigan said that Keegan Bradley is expected to pick himself. Wrong. This is why you don't do the scoop game. Okay. Here's how I think we might line up. I think Schauffele and Cantlay, I think, is a very, very natural pairing. They play all their practice rounds together. They're clearly very close. I think it's a very good team for the alternate shot format. I think Scheffler and Burns, those guys are really close. You can really put Scheffler with anybody. You could put Scheffler with DeChambeau. They've played together in the past. Russell Henley and Harris English. I think let's put the dogs together. the Georgia Bulldogs together. His ultimate goal was to be the best captain he could be. 100% sure this is the right choice, says Kieran O'Halloran. So I wonder if he was actually ever considering it. I wonder if he was actually considering it, or if it was always just like, I don't know, only if I make it on points, only if I make it on points. But it was a tough decision, because if he made it on points, there's no decision at all. If he finishes outside the top, 15 or whatever it is, there's no decision at all. Where exactly did he finish in the point standings? I want to say he finished 10th. He finished 11th. So it wasn't like he finished 7th or 8th where he was right outside. He finished 11th. It was just far down enough that it was going to be, a very interesting decision for him. And he decided to lean into the captain. Don't forget to apply to be Cullen's caddy. He is changing every hole, or so I'm told. Ivan R says, if Keegan chose himself, he was a lock for dog of the week. Now we have a can't pull the trigger, Cantlay, and Bogey Burns over Captain America himself. I'm not here for the Sam Burns slander. Done a lot of content with Sam recently. He's become a pal. So tragically bad team, says Miguel Holm. Do Bryson and Ben the meathead team? I think we go Bryson and Cam Young. Just do that in best ball. Just the bombers, right? Have two guys who fly at 330. I think Colin and JT. They've shared caddies before. Colin is a guy who could play with Russell Henley. I'm thinking about maybe Colin could play with Harris English, but I think the most solid teams are Scheffler and Burns, Schauffele and Cantlay, JT and Colin, Bryson and Cam Young, and then the dog team of Russell Henley and Harris English. Colby says he's 100% sure that it's the wrong choice. Lee says to carry on Scotty Tiger comparisons to Scotty as bad as Tiger at match play. I hope not. Sam is one of the purest strikers I've ever seen on the range. I love watching him at driver. I feel like he creates so much space, just leans into that left hip. Oh, there's a live component to this. Dan didn't get the invite to the press conference, but I don't recognize any of those people, so maybe they're local media. Sometimes the most obvious choices aren't the ones you want to go with. Keegan has a belief of this group. We should trust his judgment. Colin JT can share a caddy. That is right, says Ben Boscovich. Georgia boys might run the field and upset a Hovland or a Fleetwood. So the picks are in, guys. The picks are in. There is no Keegan Bradley. I am surprised. I think it was the safe choice, but we're Americans. Do we ever make the safe choice? I thought he had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to pick himself. Instead, he goes JT, Colin, Ben Griffin, Cameron Young, Patrick Cantlay, and Sam Burns. If it were me, I would have swapped out Cantlay for Keegan. But there it is. There it is. We have our teams. Are there any anyone can anyone give me some more quotes from Keegan? Hope some of these guys show more passion than their normal tournament play. That's a good shout. I mean, I would say of the guys on our team, Spawn is very even-keeled. Cantlay is extremely even-keeled. Russell Henley is very even-keeled. Harris English is very even-keeled. And Cameron Young is very even-keeled. So 5 of our 12 guys don't show a lot of emotion when they're out there. Let's do a little bit of a comparison between Cantlay. Let's do Cantlay 2025 results, and let's do Bradley 2025 results. Oh wait, why can't I move those? Bradley. There we go. So on the left, we have Keegan, and on the right, we have Cantlay. Obviously, there's a trophy there for Keegan. There is no trophy there for Cantlay. It's not the most different, besides for how they played in the majors. Keegan missed the cut at the Masters, but made the cut in the last 3, including a top 10 in the PGA Championship. Cantlay did. Oh, there's Kyle Porter. Cantlay did not have a top 10 in a major this year. What makes a good pairing? What are you looking for when pairing 2 people together, and does it change based on the format, says PJ Contreras. Yeah, it changes based on the format. They have all these data guys who are crunching the numbers about, okay, this guy's really good off the tee. This guy's really good approach. All right, if this guy's teeing off on the odd holes and the other guy's teeing off on the even holes, maybe this guy gets to hit more drivers. This guy gets to hit more approach shots in. You can kind of forecast this guy's going to be putting more often. You can model all of this stuff out. I think there's more strategy that comes with alternate shot because you're only hitting half the shots, and you really can map the course out based on how you think it will go down. With best ball, I think you put your birdie makers out there. Steph, someone says, so true, Steph. He's getting paid now, so maybe Justin. Either way, hope RL sized him and made a special cap size for him. I'm just disappointed, man. I'm just disappointed. Is U.S. team being paid now? I believe there is a lump sum that they are getting. I think most of those guys will probably donate it to charity. That's something that I've been hearing. Remember, that was a huge topic of conversation in the last Ryder Cup. Remember, where's my worm cam hat? I think I have a worm cam hat. They were all waving the hats for Patrick Cantlay. There was those rumors that he wasn't wearing the hat because he wasn't being paid. They did pass something kind of in the middle of the night. They were really quiet about it. That there is going to be a sum that these guys get, but I do think that all these guys will donate it. I think it was more of a symbolic thing of like, if everyone else is getting money, shouldn't we get money? Not that we need the money, but more of a principle thing. So I think it will be a rallying cry for this team to donate. I just got here, and you may have said already, but thoughts on Gotterup not making it? Let's look into Chris Gotterup. The problem with Gotterup. Oh, I didn't. Oh yeah, I did. Thought I forgot Gotterup. I didn't forget Gotterup. Okay. Gotterup, here are his results for the year, and here's his statistical profile. Driving distance, absolutely unbelievable. He's a bomber. Does not hit it straight at all. Could be an issue with the rough out there, but what I think the problem is with Gotterup, it was really a late flurry, a very, very late flurry. He got hot. Really, those 2 weeks at the end of the year changed all of the discussion around Chris Gotterup winning the Scottish Open, beating Rory McIlroy for his second PGA Tour when he won at Myrtle Beach, and then following it up with an amazing week over at the Open Championship, solo third. But this tournament's played in America. He had a good tour championship, but I think the T54 and T33, remember that T54 at the St. Jude is out of 70, and the T33 at the BMW Championships out of 50. So those are really closer to missed cuts than they are to top 25 finishes. Ben says, I think Gotterup didn't stay hot enough in the convo. Matthew says, anyone else just feel no energy from this press conference? Everyone is monotone and just blah. I think Keegan probably is dealing with a crazy adrenaline dump right now. I think he probably has mixed feelings about this. How could you not have mixed feelings about this? You had an opportunity to join Arnold Palmer, right? You had an opportunity to join Arnold Palmer and make history. And Keegan said, I feel kind of weird because I'm not in the same conversation as Arnold Palmer. I'm not an all-time great. He has won a major, but Arnie won 5 or 6. I think 6. But I think he feels probably a little bit, I don't want to say sheepish about the decision, but he probably wishes that he made it on points. I'll put it that way. They're all super good. Crunch all the numbers you want. It all comes down to how much creatine you have on the day. And this is another, that's a good point. Obviously, it doesn't come down to how much creatine you have on the day. But I saw my man Chris Powers tweeting saying, it's a toss-up. This is a match play format. This team could play well and lose. They could play a little bit less than average and win. I mean, it's not a stroke play event. It's in a month. How can Colin be justified with his play and caddy situation this season? There's only really one guy who came from off the radar to make this team. I guess JJ Spawn, he made it on points, but Ben Griffin is the only guy who really played his way onto this team from outside of the picture. And, Colin's proven himself, and that's what I was trying to kind of get at is, at the end of the day, the only criteria is who does Keegan think are the 12 that are going to play the best that week? That's the criteria. Now, we want it to be based on merit. We want it to be based on how they played this year, but there is a sort of intangible factor. And I think Colin's been good in these team competitions before. He's a 2-time major winner. He's played on these teams. It's not like he's the worst player out there on the PGA Tour. And I think, with a month off, he can really sort out a situation. Does this change your expectations of the winner? I need to think about that a little bit. I think the Americans are going to win because everyone wins home Ryder Cups. But yeah, I think their percentage of winning went down a couple of percent without Keegan. I just thought it was going to be an amazing rallying cry. Rory is somewhere sipping on some 1964 Bordeaux, because he was right. He said, I don't think you can do it. I think he was putting Keegan on the spot there. He was putting Keegan on the spot, and he was right. I thought, did you guys also notice that Rory said, I don't think you can do it? And he was wearing a hat that literally said, just do it. Who caddies for Colin? Probably Mark Urbanic. Can't get over how bad a pick Cantlay is, says Tom Warhawk. Missed the cut in 3 of the 4 majors before last week. He had 1 top 5 since January. He's had a bad year. He's a bad personality. He's disliked by fans. Awful. I will say the disdain that fans have for Patrick Cantlay, I don't think it's shared by the majority of that U.S. Ryder Cup team. All the time I interview guys for a living, and they all talk about Cantlay with a lot of admiration and respect for how consistent he is and how, the narrative being how bad he's been this year, still made it to the Tour Championship. I think he made, what do you make, $4 million for finishing in a tie for second, something like that. They all better start practicing foursome, says Mark Kelly. Steel Chair Benny, as someone new to following golf closely, can you explain the boys club? How much time you got? The boys club is this notion that you gotta kind of be on the inside in order to make one of these teams. You gotta be in with the captain. You gotta hang out with the right people. And a lot of the boys club conversation was really ironically started with Keegan Bradley. I mean, Netflix gave this incredible behind the scenes look into Keegan feeling like, he didn't make the team in 2023 because he didn't hang out with the right people, basically, because, he went to St. John's. He didn't go to Oklahoma State. He didn't go to Alabama. He didn't go to Texas. He's not one of these blue chip kids who's always had, a star next to his name because everyone expected him to be one of the best players in the world. Whereas like a guy like Colin Morikawa or Patrick Cantlay are these guys who, the boys club is sort of this reputation pick, right? Like, are you in because of your play, or are you in because of your name recognition, because of sort of what you've accomplished in the past? Better odds, Man United to make Champions League or US to blow out Europe at Bethpage. US to blow out Europe at Bethpage. Chris Shepard says, Cantlay takes way too long. I'd hate to be his playing partner. Could have put Brian Harman in there to troll them. How consistent he is, literally a year with 2 top 10s, no wins. I'm just telling you, Soap 1984, I'm just telling you what the other players themselves say. Can someone give me some sort of insight into what Keegan's saying? Can someone tell me what Keegan is saying? Going through your chats here. Love that JT is already wearing his. This was a politician answer. He's playing better than half the picks. They absolutely did not play their way in over him. Yeah, is he saying that they played their way in over him, or is he saying that I didn't feel like I could do both? Because I think they're two separate justifications, right? I don't think you can argue that he's not one of the best 12 Americans right now on form. I don't think that argument holds water. But it's not that simple of a decision. The pace of play will drive Europe crazy, especially against Rom Hatton. Seeing this team, does Luke Donald pick Harry Hall? No, I think Luke Donald is thrilled with how things played out. Matt Fitzpatrick coming on strong at the end of the year. Matt Fitzpatrick's up to like number 12 in the data golf rankings, finished 6th in the British Masters, had a really strong end of the summer. I think Luke Donald is thrilled that going into an away game, he's going to have one rookie on his team, and it's going to be Rasmus Højgaard, who was, I don't know if he was an assistant captain, but he was with the team throughout the whole week in 2023 when his twin Nikolai played. So Luke Donald goes into this cauldron at Bethpage. It's going to be absolutely insane with all of the fans, and he goes in with guys who have all been there before. And the only guy who hasn't has sort of been there before. He's saying he was picked as the captain, even though he's heartbroken not to play. His job is to be the best captain he can be. I feel like so much of the work of being a captain is in the run-up, is the logistics, is making your picks, is figuring out the outfits, figuring out the schedule, figuring out the food situation, figuring out, a lot of these guys in the past have complained about how many, sponsor obligations they have or how many dinners they have to go to. Like, making that schedule, I feel like, is hugely important. You gotta pick your vice captains. You gotta pick your data guys. I just felt like once all of that was already in place, the only thing left to do is play golf. Like, he can still, if Keegan was the playing captain, he could still make the picks for who's going to play. He can set out all of these pairings just like I've done over here. I mean, I just can't figure out how to freaking point. But you have your data guys. You have your, if we're up, this is going to be my team. If we're down, it's going to be the team. If this guy's not playing well, here's who we sub in. I think you can make those picks. And he's going to feel helpless. He's going to feel very, very helpless. Yeah, he can go out there and talk to guys, but these guys don't need swing coaches. They're the best players in the world. They don't need someone out there being like, oh, this, I like you hitting an extra club here. These guys are going to handle their business by themselves. Keegan said he decided not to play a while ago, so good job acting. The only European change is Højgaard Twins. Europe team is a team with cohesion and balance, all players in form. Is that Colin Morikawa's cousin, or is that him? Stephanie says, I don't know. It's the response to the way they are playing and adjusting on the fly. Soap 1984 agreed. Once you are there, it's almost like a good distraction leading up to it. And then once you're there, it's like, what are you really doing? If he is playing, he isn't able to adjust as well or get in their ear. What is he going to say to them? What is the captain going to say to them? Play better. It's not like he can call plays. This isn't basketball where you're substituting all the time. This isn't football. Like, You can't hit a shot once the tournament starts. And yeah, I guess you can coach these guys, but you're not going to coach these guys. They're all going to have their swing coaches there. They're all going to have their own physios there. One of the jobs of the captain after this task force in 2014 is like, let these American players do what they do. They're the best players in the world. Don't try and mess things up. I'm surprised. Dan, off topic because I love when you do these. What did your morning look like before the live reaction? Well, I've been very sick, so I woke up. Like 25, 30 minutes before it started. I put together all of these stat breakdowns for you guys to look at, and then I hopped on live. They win. He stays on for a second term and then plays in Europe. I don't know if they're going back to the well. I think Tiger's going to be the captain of that team at Adair Manor in 2027. Is the Worm Camp making an appearance in Bethpage? I hope so. I hope so. Bobby Webster, how are you going to coach Scotty and Ted Scott? That's exactly right, Bobby. What's up, man? Yeah, I don't think there's much coaching that you can do. I think he ran up into this I think Keegan probably saw the headlines of a U.S. loss. He plays, he loses his match. How much pressure he would feel if he is out there as a playing captain. But I feel like he felt that pressure all year and played better. But if he did say that he actually decided not to play a while ago, it changes things. It changes things because it means that he was able to play this well. He was able to do this with all this going on, but there wasn't really all that much going on. There really wasn't all that much going on. If he knew he wasn't going to play, then it makes the results a little bit different and it changes the conversation. Because what I had said in my impassioned plea for him to play, to join the Mount Rushmore of not just golf, but America. I mean, I'm thinking Washington, Jefferson, Lincoln, Bradley, it could have been. I said, you've dealt with all of the chaos so far and you've played the best golf of your career, but I don't think it was as chaotic as we thought it was if he knew that he wasn't going to play. A little breakfast beer to help you feel better? I don't think so, Justin Holland. I don't think so. Confused on the decision, says Walker Frederick. Keegan likely would have been in the running to be a captain at Adair. This was a huge opportunity that I think he may regret a little when all is said and done. That's a good point. That's a good point. If they win, he's going to feel like he made the right choice, and everyone's going to laud him and say, this was the prudent decision. But I do wonder if they lose. If they lose, and he's a losing captain at home at Bethpage Black, and this is 2060, right? And we've just found we did a little time travel, like Outlander. I've been watching Outlander, time travel all over the place. We fast forward 35 years. Keegan's 70, whatever he is, 72 years old, 73 years old, and he's looking back and he said, I had a chance to join Arnold Palmer and be the first playing captain since the King, and I didn't take it. He doesn't look all that like happy, does he? He doesn't look all of that like fired up. He looks I'm going to say he looks like someone told him his dog is sick. I mean, he looks like that, like he knows that this was a, I don't know. I just think that the vibes coming out of this press conference are a little bit subdued. And I think it's because he had this opportunity to put such a charge into this Ryder Cup and he opted not to do it. Devices are able to monitor all play while he's on the course. The moment he's off, they relay the info of everyone's play and offer their picks. This is all if he plays a morning round. JP McManus confirmed to me that Tiger will be the captain at Adair 2027. Okay, so we've got an extremely plugged in guy in our chat here with Barry. He just said if he felt like he had to play to win, he would, but he doesn't think his team is going to lose. Well, what is he going to say? They're gonna lose? Yeah, I didn't pick myself. I think they're going to lose. No, of course he's going to say that. How much does a specific course they are playing factor into the picks? I think it factors into the picks a lot. I think it's why Cameron Young was kind of a no-brainer because of how far he hits it. Also, the fact that it's in New York. Sam Burns was a no-brainer as he is best friends with Scheffler and an amazing putter and playing really well. I always thought Burns should make this team. Keegan's picks all good. Morikawa selection is based upon the who you know narrative, but he's experienced. Steel Chair Bernie says way too early 2027 Europe captain prediction. Justin Rose. I think it's going to be Justin Rose. Rory said no, obviously. I don't think Shane Lowry is at that point in his career where he would be a captain in Ireland. I don't think that Team Europe wants this sort of narrative throughout the year. But Justin Rose is playing great still, right? Won a FedEx playoff event at 45. But if we think about the European captain pool, so many of those guys have went to live, and not just went to live, but went kicking and screaming, like a Sergio Garcia. Like a Ian Poulter, like a Lee Westwood, like a Paul Casey. I don't think any of those guys are really in the running. So the only sort of holdover from that generation that dominated Ryder Cups. And let's remember, Europe has won 8 of the last 11 Ryder Cups. It's not like the U.S. strategy has been pinpoint working every single time. But we go back to Europe. I think Justin Rose is the only one who fits the bill. Burns' record in the damn President's Cup was average at best. McNeely should have been the last guy in if Keegan didn't think he should play. That's an interesting one. McNeely, we had him on the show earlier in the year. He said that his goal was not just to make the team, but to annoy people with his putter and to win points at Bethpage. But Mav came on strong toward the end of the year and was really good in the beginning of the year, but just didn't sustain it enough. And I do think if you are one of these guys without name recognition, and name recognition, we talk, I'm going to sort of contradict and be a little bit hypocritical here. I said that when everyone was talking about the changes to the PGA Tour format and all of the non, the guys outside the top 100 were saying, oh, this is playing into the hands of the top players, of the big names. That's just another word for better, more proven golfers. So when I say, the boys club reputation pick, it is another way of saying guys who are more accomplished. They don't just have a reputation for who they are. They have a reputation for what they've accomplished. But I think a Maverick McNeely and a Colin Morikawa are not fighting a fair battle. And whether that's fair or not is a matter of opinion. But I think McNeely was fighting an uphill battle because he was sort of an outsider. Sick dog of the week. Is that me? I think Dan's right. Rose would probably be it. Walker Frederick. How far off do you think Goddard was? Had to have been close between Goddard, Young, and Burns. I think Goddard was probably behind McNeely. Poulter's a chance to fix the relationship. Everyone else is out. Samantha Hersey says, if he isn't captain, he is on the team. You want the best to play for the team, which is why I think he is just being a softie and is afraid of the aftermath if they lose with him being on the team. Joey B says, Dan on golf, thank you for the show and content. First time tuning in. Drop us a like, drop us a subscribe. Having a great time talking to all of you. Scotty DeChambeau looked good in 2021. Scotty's going to look good with anyone playing next to him. Boring-ass team, sheesh. Losing with Keegan would have been much better, says Brandon Roy. Patrick Cantlay, WTF, says OG El Chivo. I knew he was going to be on the team. So this is what I said. This was my read on the situation for everyone who's late. This is what I had. When am I going to figure out the point? It's really not that complicated. Whichever way you feel like you're going to point, just point the opposite direction. This way, no. This way, yes. Okay, so this, and then I always get the angle wrong too. This was my read on the situation before. I had JT and Colin as locks. I had Ben Griffin as a lock with my, kind of like this, hoping that he wasn't going to get snubbed. Will he or won't he was Keegan Bradley. And then the bubble, I listed them in order, Burns, Young, McNeely. So he decided to go, he won't, he said, won't he? It was will he or won't he? He went, won't he? And then he picked the 2 guys on the bubble. Victor says, why aren't they giving Steve Stricker a run back after 2021? He deserves it the most. They don't go for repeat captains. At least not recently. Rose City Hawk fan, being left off the team, the last team probably changed Keegan's approach. He didn't want to call someone and say, I'm better than you. I don't think it was because of phone call. Mark Kelly, they took the wrong Patrick. Patrick Reed could have been the last pick, to be honest. Patrick Reed was sort of in the running after his strong Masters, and I think he won a live event, but I just think that with Patrick Reed's history and lack of relationships with guys on the team, because there's only one live guy on this team. There's going to be 2 on the European team. There's going to be Tyrrell Hatton, John Rahm, even though Rick Gaiman forgot John Rahm. But I think that hurt him. Jack says Cantlay is valid. Burns and Morikawa not so much. What's up with the anti-Burns narrative here? Let's look at Sam Burns. Let's look at his results. I mean, Sam Burns has been really, really solid since the summer. Second place Canadian Open. Remember that U.S. Open at T7? If he didn't have to hit out of a freaking lake, it would have been a much better finish than T7, and then finished really strong in the playoffs with T4 and T7. Ben Boscovich, P. Reed would play well, but team room killer. Carol Lazowski says, I am 100% sure that Scotty will be paired with Russell Henley. Could absolutely happen. I think they played together in the President's Cup. Looks like the European team is picked named on membership of a WhatsApp group from 2022. Not sure that is fair. Harry Hall has been amazing this year. I think Harry Hall would have had a chance if Rasmus Højgaard didn't make the team on points. But Rasmus Højgaard did make the team on points. First Max Fly ball to ever be played in a Ryder Cup, says Justin Holland. Definitely not, because Max Fly was one of the big time manufacturers back in the 70s and the 80s. I think they had some great players. Definitely first max fly ball in the last couple Ryder Cups, but not the first one ever. People don't like that he's a match play specialist who didn't do well at the last Ryder Cup. I don't know. Oh, you're talking about Burns. Burns deserves it, period. Best friends with Scotty too. Yeah, your friends matter in this. Your friends matter in this. Okay. That was an incredible stream. I'm disappointed. I wanted Keegan to play. The only person who's less disappointed, or more disappointed, I should say, than me is my man James Corrigan. That's the scoop game for you. The scoop game giveth and the scoop game take away. I will say the way he worded it, expected to pick himself. What does that really mean? What does that really mean? He's expected to pick himself. Expected by you? Expected by who? Keegan swerving all these questions. Yeah, I'm gonna watch this with volume later. Well, USA gave Davis Love a repeat after 2012 heartbreak, but in the President's Cup, if anyone deserves another, it's Steve. All the data was showing that Henley is the best possible pairing for Scotty. Burns is a bad pairing. Okay, Carol. So maybe he will be placed with Henley, though I probably think he'll play at least one with Burns. How about Keegan saying Griffin winning Zurich was big because it's same format as the Ryder Cup? Andrew Novak probably doesn't feel that way. Clever headline. I don't know what the headline you're talking about is. Let's ask the real question here, Dan. When are we getting a dog and Sugarloaf Social Club collab, head covers and worm cam, please, hats? That's a question for the Sugarloaf team. Thank the heavens Ben Griffin rumors were not true. Were there rumors that Ben Griffin wasn't going to make the team? That would have been a proper snub. I don't think there were any real snubs. I mean, the only snub was Keegan, but it's such a different conversation. But I don't think that, if you're McNeely or Harmon or Goddard, I don't think you're really feeling snubbed. But yeah. All right, that's going to wrap it up for me. I'm running out of gas here. I'm still sick, which is incredible. The only words I've spoken out loud over the last couple days have been to you guys. We did the stream on Sunday. We did the show on Monday. We did a stream again today. I am really running out of gas. So I'm going to end it here. He did not pick himself, Gordio. Gordio is late to the chat. He did not pick himself. Just a fantastic stream with all of you guys. Loved hearing all of your opinions. Keegan doesn't pick himself. Keegan does not pick himself. That's the story of the day. That's the story of the day. All right, much love to you guys. We'll probably do one of these when Europe makes their picks. It will be way less spicy because Luke Donald is not in contention. Imagine Luke Donald just picks himself. Screw you, Keegan. No, it's not going to happen. That was a stupid joke. All right, guys, much love. Talk to y'all soon.